more times.
Maybe
in
a
the
little
best
bit
of 5 series. And
maybe a little bit of a different beast.
I don't know, hard to say. Well, there's Alistar banned away from Team Liquid. Starting off with the blue side, Galio banned away by C9, clearly respecting the power of that pick. They won with it yesterday versus FlyClip.
Yeah, and Team Liquid respecting Zeyzal. You see a Xayah ban come in here. I'm sure that's a little bit of respect for Keith, but probably a little bit of respect for Zeyzal as well, because he's been performing on that Rakan pick. He had a great start with Alistar. People started banning that away from him. Went to a small slump before finding that pick to go on to continue having that playmaking presence.
Yeah, and I think it is important to highlight. I mean, we've talked quite a lot about Keith actually and how good he's looked in Academy, but I think we kind of underrated just how much Zeyzal was helping Keith kind of unlock and be such a strong player here, because he has been one of the best players in Academy, not just for his role.
Yeah, I think the bot lane of C9 Academy as a whole has really stood out as people to keep your eye on. We know Keith already a little bit. He's been in the LCS for a fair amount of time, but if you're a team that's struggling a little bit at your AD carry position, you're not sure who you want to use, maybe he's someone you grab for your Academy team moving forward, so you're not quite sneaky that you're going up against, but if he was behind Alltech or Deathly or some of these other people, maybe he could go in if they start struggling a little bit. Interestingly, no Xayah ban, which means Xayah Rakan might end up getting seen play. We see the Swain ban instead.
Yeah, Caitlyn, the other marksman ban there for TL. Skarner on the side for C9 Academy, so maybe they ban the Xayah, kind of keep that away from TL, or maybe it's just all up for grabs. We'll have to see.
I don't really like either of these teams getting Xayah Rakan. I don't like it because they're both great with it. I mean, TL plays this insanely scrappy style, and you're giving them a lot of tools to engage. Yeah, there's the Xayah ban.
Smart ban from C9 Academy.
Yeah, I like that one. Now we'll see what it is. It feels like
everybody loves Olaf. That's the answer today, Mark.
I think that's going to be the answer for a lot of these, a lot of stuff coming forward. I mean, there were some nerfs that came in with some of the HP items that you're going to build on tanks in the jungle, but he likes to go right, just Glory second, so this is actually not a huge nerf to him compared to something like Sejuani or Zac, who really want to get that high HP pool up right away. And it's harder to get that Warmog's passive to kick in with the HP necessity going to 3,000.
Yep, so a little bit more as Kha'Zix's actually the pick here for Wiggly, so not going to go to something like the Zac, which we saw last game. Going to get away from the tank junglers and onto the aggressive ones. Wiggly also a huge Sejuani player, all split along, but getting away from it in this game at least.
Yeah, a couple nerfs to her items now. Sejuani slowly falling off. So those people experimenting a little bit more as the season went on, trying to find other things. We saw Olaf start coming up even before these buffs came in to help him, so no surprise to see that. Ezreal also no surprise. Based off last game, Ezreal and Varus feel like the two most prominent picks once Xayah and Caitlyn are taken off the table, so there's a pretty good chance we see Shoryu on that Varus pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting what side of the matchup you'd rather be on. I think people consider Varus to be the stronger laner, maybe a bit more aggressive, sets things up well, but Ezreal is almost always good and usually safe. So I think Cloud9 saying, you know what, we probably have the better bot lane, we'll just stick to the easy stuff here for Keith, as Taric is the pickup there for Joey.
It's really cool to see how the first phase of the draft has really changed with 8.4 and 8.5, where previously in the first half of the split, you saw so much focus on early rotations of solo laners. You saw it was really not uncommon to see like GP Azir taken right away and things like that. And now supports, junglers, AD carries are what you're seeing in the top first couple picks, because the power level is just dropped with tanks being it. It's not that you're so much saving it for counter pick and that's why you want to hide it for so long. It's just, are you really going to reach for a Cho'Gath, a Sion, or some of these other things?
Yeah, it feels like bot lane has gotten even more attention as a result, so definitely fun to see the metagame evolve. Varus is the expected pickup and does go to Shoryu, but a Thresh in answer there for Zeyzal, another playmaking champion for him.
Pretty similar bot lanes to what we saw last game, the obvious change, Taric for Alistar, and it does have pretty big ramifications on how they're going to end up playing, because Taric with Olaf is a pretty interesting combination where you can drop the ult on him, give him invulnerability and unstoppable. He just becomes basically Super Mario with that star on him. And and he just runs in there and he kills your whole backline.
Well, we'll see if that happens, because the backline's been good for C9 Academy. Gonna need to protect them as Shen is the ban, taking away a top laner from Viper, who has slowly spread his wings to other more standard champions. Sion, another good ban there by TL.
Yeah, standard. We'll see how much he sticks to that. We've still seen Riven picks even with all the tanks coming in. They like that pick for him because he plays it so well, and you can kind of just leave him on an island. If you want to gank for it and set him up to snowball the game, great. If you don't, I mean, he'll generate his own advantages. He knows how to play Riven in team situations, which is always the hard part to learn. But given that he's one-tricked it for so long, that it's no surprise that he can play that off in competitive.
I like it, as there's a Karma ban actually from C9, so taking that one away from mid lane, believe it or not. Certainly seen some play there.
Karma's started showing up a little bit more, especially with some of the aggressive picks in the jungle, if you want it.
Wait, what?
TL bans Riven. So, to be fair, Shiro plays a lot of really weird carry matchups. Okay. The first time they played, I think that was when we saw the Camille into Akali. I think that was the game that we saw that. So Shiro is someone who will not back down to a carry versus carry matchup. So maybe they were concerned that the Riven gets taken away, and maybe Viper doesn't really have anything he wants to play into Riven. I don't know. Yeah,
did play it last week, so I was told. So, I mean, again, certainly a player that has experience on it as well. Maybe not the same notoriety as a player like Viper, who has whipped out Riven Yasuo at a drop of a hat, it felt like. But I try to get the pick instead. So don't worry about the fun champs. We're sticking with the tanks there in top lane, at least on the Cloud9 side.
Ooh, this would be interesting if they grab the Sejuani here and flex the Olaf up to the top lane. Let me see it. They're going to do it. I assume that's not a Sejuani top. I assume that's a Sejuani jungle and Olaf top, which is a bit of a nightmare for Cho'Gath with no mobility, level 1. Those axe spam coming in. He's always been a monster bully in the early game. Is susceptible to ganks, so we'll see if that's what they go for. But yeah, Olaf going top.
I like it, and there's Ryze to round things out. Mickey not afraid of the champ despite the changes coming in onto this patch for Ryze. And counterpick here for Golden Glue. Surprise, surprise, he'll take the best matchup. Cassio. That's Golden Glue. Just take the Cassio.
Yep, gonna take the Cassio. We talked a little bit about the Ryze nerfs that came in, but they didn't feel super substantial when you looked at them, so you expect people to still want it. It just takes them down from like the, oh my god, Ryze is a tier above everyone else that we were kind of seeing on 8.4 with all the benefits that came into mana items.
Yep, might just be kind of balanced at this point in the metagame.
I doubt it. When has Ryze ever been balanced, Pastry?
He's either kind of burning in a little hole in the ground, or he's like destroying everyone at Worlds or something. I don't know.
57% win rate or 40%. Take your pick. Those are the only two options.
Wasn't 47 on 8.4?
Was it that?
In solo queue it was. I mean, I know this because I was winning games on Ryze, which was impossible before because of how bad his solo queue win rate was.
Ryze is notoriously difficult
He's really hard to play.
So it's funny that he's always considered so good. Whenever he's considered good, his win rate still isn't actually
It's less than 50 almost always.
Yeah, it's not quite the old Ryze where face roll, press all the buttons, one-shot people.
I miss those days. Well, we'll see what happens here. Two teams battling for that top spot here. Cloud9 could give it over to themselves with a win. Team Liquid going to try and say, hey, we want that spot up there at the top. See if they can take down Cloud9 Academy.
Yeah, this will probably be a pretty explosive game. Just how Team Liquid plays typically, combined with the Olaf flex pick into the top lane. I don't see a world where that results in even farming 15 minutes into the game like you sometimes see with tank versus tank.
Especially not from Comet Olaf. No jungling required this time around, so no Predator. Instead, a much more offensive laning keystone there for the Olaf.
Yep, should be pretty easy to land. You hit an axe, you hit him with a comet, extra poke damage, though the concern with the Olaf is usually less the poke damage and more the all-in potential.
Yeah, more the part where you die horribly as Golden Glue is receiving some attention, but Zeyzal roaming up as well, gonna move the Taric out of that lane, and Golden Glue just gonna play up. Try and make sure he gets a bit of vision, but other than those little pokes back and forth in mid lane, nothing too substantial happening here at level 1. As looks like blue buff start here for Wiggly.
Yep, gonna have both junglers actually starting on the bot side. Not too much of a surprise when you look at the lanes. It's gonna be a lot less action in the bot lane compared to that top side, so get up there, try and save your tank. Make sure the enemy team doesn't gank you, get some vision out. A lot of stuff, like we were saying, will be decided on how this top lane plays out.
And as you mentioned, Team Liquid's identity, I think for both their teams in some ways, but I would say even magnified here in Academy, has been one of relentless aggression and scrappiness. So no matter what happens, I would give them 5 random champions and still expect them to play about the same way.
I mean, we saw Mickey on Azir just constantly going in a game where they outscale against CLG, and eventually they ended up losing that one. Hopefully they learned their lesson a little bit, but this team is very young. Most of these guys do not have a ton of experience. Hard being your your second most experienced player, and he is a guy who has not had a ton of time in the LCS, so no surprise they take after their veteran Mickey a little bit and play a very aggressive style.
Well, it looks like Shiro is getting the attention that you expected already. Is level 2, but Hard is up here waiting for an opportunity. Apparently didn't see one because he's backing off.
Yeah, only level 2. Went for a bit of a cheesy gank there. But I'm surprised that they thought that would work, given that Viper is so much stronger in the first level or 2. So Shiro plays it intelligently. Don't walk up. Don't risk the early gank. Just went buff to buff and straight up there. Hard did not find the kill. Now he's going to clear his way back down after dropping the ward off and try and buy Olaf the space to just bully that matchup in the 1v1.
Yeah, back to the jungle there for Hard. Wiggly also just clearing some buffs out. Not going to enter these lanes anytime soon, it seems like. And Shiro, despite the CS deficit right now, should be able to catch back up in short order as the minion wave moves closer to that turret. Scuttle Crab down nice and quick for Sejuani. As you can see a gigantic wave here for Shiro. Hopefully he can grab as many of these as he can under the turret. And in the mid lane, a fight actually brewing. Hard went mid, looks for Golden Glue, but doesn't land the second part of that flail. Golden Glue though still feeling that pressure as Wiggly trying to roam up, but yeah, not a whole lot you can do to face check there as a Kha'Zix.
And that was some fortunate timing for Shiro. He was full health, which was very important, but with no vision up in the top side there, you have to be concerned about a gank coming your way and potentially a dive. I mean, it is hard to dive a full Cho'Gath as we see Golden Glue getting aggro in the mid lane.
Still chasing, actually forcing the heal out of Mickey. Ran low on mana, but had enough to threaten a kill. Gets a summoner out of the deal after a lot of trading there in mid. Wiggly also stole the majority of that Raptor camp by the looks of things, so kind of gets away with that pressure.
Yeah, and this is kind of that aggressive early game we're talking about. Both mid laners trading till they have no mana, continue fighting. Now Mickey using his TP to get back in the mid lane while Golden Glue had not shopped yet will get him a bit of an advantage here. He'll have some time to push in a wave. He'll get a small CS lead, and he can also go roaming around a little bit if he wants to drop his pink ward off somewhere. He does have some vision tools.
Also, tears finished for both, but Mickey, like you said, will get back sooner with that TP. Did have to take his flash off to do that with the unsealed spellbook, but here's Hard again onto the top side. Shu with a good late flash, but still getting stunned up again. Viper flashing in, he wants it! And he grabs it. First blood to the Olaf.
Yeah, some really slick coordination there. I didn't think that they'd be able to find that kill, but Viper showing he knows how to play it. They get the first blood onto Shiro. Well timed as well. I was talking about how the minion wave was underneath the turret and it would have been hard to dive potentially, but they could have looked for it. Instead, they wait for the minion wave to bounce off that turret and start coming back their way. He wasn't even that far away from his turret. They could have played this even slower if they wanted, but they knew that they had the damage to go here, and Viper just gets right on top of him. Doesn't quite get the Sejuani passive as early as he'd want to start stacking it up, but Hard does go in there and get the chain CC combo, and then the flash forward auto attack finishes him off. Shiro couldn't quite get out of there, unfortunately, and couldn't find the trade kill back.
Well, Flashless Rise, good flash play there, but under the turret now for Zeyzal, missing that hook. Couldn't really find a good angle for it.
Yeah, it was tough. The play was good, but the minions were coming. There was a really small angle that he probably could have been able to hit Mickey there, but no surprise, couldn't actually land it. Very difficult to find.
Yep, Joey does hit down that zombie ward as well. So
Mickey with TP.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Because he used the heal from Golden Glue's early pressure. So to get back to the lane, he had to take out his flash.
That is interesting, to say the least.
And the worst part is, now your flash key's moved. Because when you go back with your heal up, if you want to move it back,
I'm going to assume he'll just wait for the TP unless he gets forced to base earlier. But, you know, we'll have to see if he has to start playing the game differently. Maybe we see a situation where his flash and heal are reversed and he presses the wrong one at some point.
I mean, it's the other thing where you also kind of like cleanse against Cassio. So if that's a matchup you think you'll play more of in a side lane or even in the mid lane, like, it's a lot of awkwardness to kind of wait for enough shots to swap things back around. So we'll see, but certainly, again, you said that Mickey was an aggressive player. That's one of the most aggressive decisions you can make. Just, I don't need this splash. Get me back to this lane.
Yeah, absolutely.
I respect the philosophy. I don't know if I like the decision.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I'm not going to say it's wrong, but it is a very aggressive decision. The no cleanse is a little understandable versus Kha'Zix. He's one of the junglers where he doesn't bring a stun, so you don't really need to cleanse flash out of any combo or anything. And Cassio doesn't even have any hard CC also until level 6, so I can understand willing to take the greedier summoners, but flash for TP is a bit of a stretch.
Well, it's got the heal back up, so we'll see what he does in just a moment. Golden Glue still playing up and aggressive here in the lane, but he kind of juking around as much as he can from those noxious blasts. And Mickey just pushes the wave, going to go ahead and leave, get some vision down. Perhaps doesn't quite find either the plant or the ward there in that brush. But just again, buying some time and threatening at least back towards that top side where I think we expect him to play. Here comes Wiggly though. Mickey going to ulti out of the way. Ooh, flash miasma attempt from Golden Glue. Not able to quite get there, but Mickey does use that heal again.
Yep. So probably going to be the TP changes back. A little surprised to see C9 not go harder on that. They didn't have vision of the Sejuani, so they're scared if they're chasing in there. But you see the miscoordination where Golden Glue wants to flash in and Wiggly's peeling off. I can understand wanting to play a little bit more conservative, but you just got to get on the same page with that and do one or the other.
Yep. Unfortunately, Golden Glue will lose his splash as a result, but Wiggly can correct some of that and at least give over the blue buff here to Golden
Sorry,
Glue.
friend.
I'm sorry for not following you. I'll give you the blue buff this time.
Yeah, it looked like Wiggly had kind of assumed Mickey was going to get out with the ultimate, and then Golden Glue was like, I can miasma him. And then Wiggly had already not thought that was going to happen. So, anyways, no aggression there. Only 1 kill on the top side as we're getting close to 10 minutes. So I got to say, despite the skirmishing, it is a little bit lower of a kill game than I thought we were going to get. Yeah,
expecting Hard to maybe make another appearance here. In fact, he's already in the top lane, ready to go for round 2. But I think Shiro has kind of realized what's going on and is playing extremely far back under the turret. So Hard says, all right, if you're not going to come out, I'm going to slap your turret with my red buff.
Yes, you can see Shiro dropped a ward kind of behind him, anticipating a dive. Hard instead just kind of comes up through the lane, says, you know, it'd be nice to kill you, but we're perfectly happy just to take this turret down. Not really an option for counterplay on the other side of the map. They do have to worry about the Kazakhs, and you can see the bot lane is respecting it, kind of warding behind them as TLA finishes off this turret, and Wiggly is going to have to settle for the Ocean Drake.
Yeah, this is a good trade from Cloud9. I think TL come out a little ahead, taking down that first turret, giving solo gold over as well to Viper. That extra 650, but T9 kind of doing what they can, splitting this map, but very early turret takes there in the top side, so kind of Viper back off to the races with another aggressive pick here after some smart drafting flexibility from Team Liquid Academy.
Yeah, denying a lot of CS as well, 30 CS lead. And the Ocean Drake, not going to be too nice for Shiro. He's not going to be like, oh, great, guys, that made me feel better about.
Yeah, now I can sustain forever in a lane where I don't have a turret anymore. Well, see if Viper moves this around, or probably just plays in this lane. Tries to keep Shiro back towards the other turret and threaten and Hard. At least taking the control that Viper has built, or at least they've built together, and is starting off the Rift Herald.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to move an Olaf around the map, quite like you sometimes see with other champions that get advantages. A Camille can come flying in over the wall and isolate you and set you up. Olaf kind of just wants a long lane to chase people down in, so he's perfectly fine to stay top against that Cho'Gath. And since Olaf's staying top, Hard's staying top, and he's going to work down that Scuttle.
Already has Black Cleaver done as well for the Olaf, so nice and strong as Herald goes over to Hard. Does manage to finish that one off pretty easily. Still, gold lead looking okay. TLA up a bit over 1,000, which is nice, but Keith is farming up, has a slight lead there over Shoryu. Zaze was continuing to roam, trying to make plays, and Wiggly into the bush here. He's going to find Joey. Going to get some damage down, but foam plating helps protect. Zaze with the lantern. He's going to pick his jungler out nice and quickly.
With that, TLA know that they are safe to walk back up to that turret, so they're going to protect that one. And C9 are struggling to find an answer to this topside pressure. Thresh Ezreal is not a super aggressive lane, so they're having a hard time forcing down around there. The mid lane matchup is easy, and TLA are actually the ones who find an opportunity.
Great ult there from the Varus as Zaze is going to get caught by the Sejuani ult as well. The box will protect him for long enough, but a lot of good pressure there onto the support of Cloud9 Academy.
They only get the flash out, and they trade the Ignite for it as well as Hard's flash, but if that does enough to buy space for the bot lane, that'll be pretty big because it means Hard has freedom in the top side. Doesn't have to worry about a counterplay coming in. So Viper setting up, still no flash on the mid lane.
Really nice here from Mickey trying to bait it in. They're going to run in for it though, but Golden Glue does get snared up under the turret. Golden Glue has to keep cutting out of the way. He's trying to do it the flash in from Viper. He's going to get him a kill, but a great trade over as Golden Glue. He's able to secure that one, and here's Shiro with the roam back down. Kill should go over. It's Wiggly that grabs it.
Uh-oh, bit of over-aggression by TLA. Their old arch enemy themselves shows up in the mid lane, going way too aggressive on that dive. I understand the simplicity of it, the fact that Cassio wants to stun targets, look at them, but Olaf doesn't care. But this is something you can potentially do multiple times. Get the cleanse out and then look at it again. It's very hard to pull off versus Golden Glue because he can get out of that rise route, and once he gets out, the Olaf you saw had a difficulty sticking on top of the Cassio and getting his axes back.
Yeah, really trying to take this buff, does smite it away. Zaza waiting on the blast cone. Nice little bit of defense there, providing coverage for the Kazakhs exit.
Definitely a cute play. We'll take another look at this one. So, like I said, I understand the appeal of going for this gank. You land the slow, you ult right at him, you force the cleanse out, but you can back out there and just take that cleanse. Instead, he's underneath the turret, he's flashing forwards, and now they've extended this long enough that the rest of C9 is able to recuperate. They had that bot lane gank that had just happened, but a lot of guys have started roaming on the map. So Zeyzal, Wiggly, and Shiro all show up to kind of react to the Golden Glue gank.
Nice stuff there. Golden Glue able to defend. Now with an Abyssal Mask, might be a little easier to survive next time around. Have to see though as hard as, I think, trying to find his footing back in the jungle pressure race. Done a decent job farming, but is a little bit behind Wiggly, and all that early topside pressure hasn't really converted to much else, and Wiggly's been a lot more active since getting his ulti, although they're going to try it again. No cleanse this time for Golden Glue, but he does have his flash. Does flash out from under Hard's ulti, so good look there from TLA.
Yeah, unrelenting pressure around this mid lane. They've kind of, feels like they've identified that as the next turret that they want to take, and if they ever find a kill on Golden Glue, they have that Rift Herald that they can just drop down and finish it off. It is going to time out pretty soon here, so after this blue buff handoff, maybe Hard will drop it. Golden Glue also grabbing his blue buff here. Mid laners are back to even, and we're going to see this kind of pressure game continue a little while. Viper can keep getting priority in the top lane, and then no one wants to duel him, so he does have the ability to kind of run free on the top half of the map.
Well, Mickey also getting the first push out and maybe looking to pressure himself, so total topside pressure should be nice and strong here for Team Liquid Academy, but bot lane still holding pretty firm as they're just trading farm back and forth, and both teams are looking to try and break things open a little longer as top lane actually is going to be the attempt here.
Yeah, I like this decision. The mid lane attacks have not been working out. Go back up to Viper. Shiro's not really in a spot still to defend this one that easily, so you see once again backing away from this turret, able to try and defend it with the Rupture, but that doesn't really do anything. In the second turret of the game, gonna go over to TLA here again on the top side.
Yeah, kind of behind there. The ult popped there by the turret. Zeyzal looking to try and combo down Joey. Puts the block down, but he gets rooted under the turret. A 2v3 semi-outplay there, and TLA are actually just going to pressure this inhibitor turret.
Yeah, no reason to stop. They think they can actually dive Shiro from full.
Actually starting it right now. No piece for Shiro, flashes out. Never mind, did have it by the looks of things, but I just don't think it matters. It was a scream that he tried, but Ragnarok was on, and that turret's dead.
Yeah, they're going to finish off this inhibitor turret. Only Wiggly is back to defend right now, so he looks like he'll be able to be enough to deter the push. I didn't know if Viper and Hard wanted another 1v1 force potentially, but it doesn't look like they want a piece of that. And this kind of highlights the difficulty I was talking about for C9 Academy's bot lane to find action in the top side in response to what's going on. They want to dive this turret, but you see them land the hook right away, but then the ultimate starts coming down to Shorey. There's no way that they'd burst him through a heal and all that stuff coming on. Then Zeyzal just a little bit too far forward. Big mistake out of him to get caught under the turret. But there was no way that dive ever worked. And in the top side, you're losing your top turret. Once they see Wiggly down the bot lane, that shows that they can go up here and just dive Shiro under his inhibitor turret.
Yeah, I mean, Shiro just tried to use some spells, and Viper said, yeah, it doesn't matter. So, pretty easy take. Rifthold helps out with the inhibitor turret, and pretty good value on that one. Took 2 turrets for the price of 1, and already got the first turret. So, TLA do have 3 turrets. It's just not the 3 you might expect.
No, 3 turrets before 15 minutes usually says, they've gotten all the outers. So, no, they got all the top lane.
TLA playing their way, which has kind of been their thing. All split long, Wiggly and Hard doing some battle. Hard says no. Wiggly says, okay, I'll just get it.
A little tough to stick on to the Sejuani there. And you see just TLA showing that, you know, a lot of people talk about the right play being don't play into the enemy's pressure, go to mirror it on the other side of the map, but they don't have the tools to actually mirror it. So C9, a bit of a tough situation to be in. Do they want to take 2v2s on the top side? No, not really. That's already been decided as Viper's territory. They don't really have anywhere else to go. They will get a Mountain Dragon, which is nice to keep away from TLA, but the fact that they don't have any pressure means that it'll be hard to use it hitting turrets or other objectives.
Yeah, and that's kind of really the only thing that Cloud9 have been able to trade, as the map has been split pretty squarely here over to TLA, at least for the advantage. So 2 Drakes to none is nice, but no turrets still. C9 are trying to get something happening, but a good defensive ult from Shoryu's Varus will defend that potential play. Golden Glue with a nice stun. Miasma is up Mickey, but Mickey presses 2 buttons and runs away.
And now the problem becomes with no turrets in the top lane anymore. What's to stop Viper from walking up there and taking an inhibitor in the 1v1? It's kind of difficult for C9 to stop this. You see there's a lot of vision control for TLA that's setting up a mid dive.
Yep, looking again to try and move their pressure around elsewhere, but another ult is going to go slightly wide. Wiggly in, but too far forward. Not enough damage. Joe pops the ulti, I believe, for a bit of extra invisibility.
Yep, make sure that they don't feel safe diving an invisible bug under a turret.
With a Casio there, yeah, I agree with that one.
Yeah, but
I'm no analyst, Mark.
Yeah, that's a tough one to swing. But TLA going to keep extending their lead in this game. You just see Viper with the entire top side of the map under his control.
Yeah.
Hard can potentially just play down to the bot lane. They do have good setup once Shoryu's ult becomes available again. That maybe, you know, C9 are left guessing, do I have to defend an inhibitor top or do I need to look to defend bot lane? Viper's fine to keep playing aggressive. Plus, he has TP, so he can always join in down there.
It does feel like Hard's like, okay, well, I did the top lane thing, I got that snowball going, that's good, but he's been mid, didn't quite work. He's been bot, you know, not too effective. Maybe he's just like, well, top lane's working, so I'm just going to go back. And I think TLA, there aren't too many bad choices to make right now because they have so much control thanks to the early work that both Hard and Viper put in the top lane. So a lot of catch-up to play here for Shiro and the rest of Cloud9 Academy, and not really getting much better. Again, mid lane. Golden Glue, yes, he's farming up nicely. He's got a slight lead there on that front, but Mickey is just shoving every lane and just leaving. And that's more pressure that Cloud9 probably have to worry about with that top lane in here being open. Yeah,
Casio wants, you know, about 10 more minutes to farm here and become an absolute monster. But it doesn't feel like TLA want to give that time. They've got some bot lane pressure down here, but hasn't really resulted in anything. Wiggly moving in. Has to be careful because Hard is, like we said, starting to play around this bot side a little bit more.
Yep, Keith's pretty strong. Gauntlet finish has a QSS as well to help get out from the Varus ult, who has a Rage Blade now up. Shoryu able to play pretty nicely in these early fights. The Crest move towards that 20-minute mark. But again, even Zeyzal, who's been kind of moved out, still looking good on his playmaking champion, not been able to convert any of the roams he's made or even any of the 2v2 action they've had in bot side. So Wiggly's just kind of getting, I mean, what do you do with the jungler in this case? For Hard, he's just kind of taking whatever option is up because they're all pretty good. Wiggly has to do a lot of thinking about, oh, what he should do as Keith does get out from under all that CC with that QSS.
Probably should have checked his inventory. Didn't feel like they knew that he had that. I don't mind the Sejuani ult kind of coming out, but the Varus ultimate as well. A little over aggressive. Now they don't have a lot of playmaking tools available.
Wiggly is going to spot Hard as well. But she's going to move back over. Wiggly does use the red smite. Hook's going to miss. Joey moving forward there, looking for the dazzle stun. And now the fight has been committed to. TLA happy to take it. Zeyzal flashes out. Here comes Mickey trying to cut off the escape on the other side. Does move over, but Viper just crushes Wiggly. As Joey tanks up the turret and chasing onto K2 flashes. Mickey is going to follow Flash, but he lives as Viper. Maybe going to get feasted here by Shiro. Does go down to Golden Glue, but still a 2v4 as Hard flashes in, kind of trying to CC out the Casio. Dazzle's going to miss. Here's the ult from Ezreal as Golden Glue able to cleanse off that stun. They might actually turn it back around. Golden Glue going to try and make it happen. Gets the kill, but now he's getting chased down by the rest of the carries. He's going to be forced to flash, but he chooses not to use it. Shut down by Shoryu, who picks up that kill.
A little surprised to see Golden Glue actually not flash there. There have been so many summoners expended in that skirmish in the bot lane that he could have actually gotten out there. He would be on the wrong side of the map and maybe still gets chased down, but didn't want to go for it. That felt like C9's fight. If they were going to find a way back in the game, it probably had to be right there because off the back of it, they lose their bot lane turret and Mickey has pressure in the mid lane. Might be able to grab this one, but either way, the gold lead is up to about 5,000 now, starting to get out of hand. An Infernal in a minute and a half. They almost won that fight, but it took too long for Keith to meet up with the rest of the team.
Mickey playing too far forward. Wiggly going to try and get a piece. Sarah's shield popped. And Mickey is going to turn the damage back around and finish off the turret. Not enough between the jungler and support to threaten that rise. So turret number 5 goes over to TLA, and hey, took a roundabout route to get there, but do take all the outer turrets down.
Yeah, C9 kind of picked that fight in the bot lane. After all the ults had been used, it felt like C9 thought that they had the advantage in that fight, and it was very, very close. Mickey getting the roam off first was pretty huge, and why that ended up working out for them. The fact that they could finish off Zeyzal after Wiggly had gotten out. And Viper also ending up isolated was a problem.
Joey, good knock up there from Shiro. Miasma follows, and that's a kill for the Cho'Gath. A crucial pick for Cloud9 Academy, but what else can they get here?
They're going to need to find some objectives. They have no turrets to 5, so they want to grab this one. Joey just a little bit too far ahead of his team. Everyone was resetting, so no one was there with him to protect that. And unfortunately for C9, they can't actually grab that mid lane turret, so the gold lead's gonna stay pretty huge.
Yeah, gonna be infernal, if anything, here for Cloud9 Academy. Maybe they go for something bigger. Miasma lands onto hard hook hits as well. Out of the Arctic Assault, back in the Miasma. Damage is good. Silence there, but it's a trade kill as junglers fall on either side. That's going to force the carries away as Viper has joined the fight. Golden Glue with a massive ult, going to try and take down Shoyu. Rupture is good for the knockup as Golden Glue's just popping off in this team fight. Flashes forward, looks for Mickey. He gets it, and this is a rout. Viper just trapped between enough carries, and C9 just take down TLA.
Huge fight for C9 Academy. That's what they were looking for. They're able to find that critically before the Infernal Dragon, so they can grab that one on the back of it. And that kind of all came down to the fact that Joey was not alive there to deliver the invulnerability for his entire team, as well as the fact that TLA's immobile carries went too far forward, so backlines were hitting each other. If they allowed that to fight to break out a little bit more evenly, it could have gone in their favor. Maybe Hard gets soloed out here, which kind of forces this fight. They think they want to win this one, so they're able to trade him jungler for jungler. And then Olaf wants to finish off Zeyzal, but you see split focus here. Up on the top side, Mickey's going to try and go for Keith, as well as a huge ultimate by Golden Glue hit both carry members, allowing them to get focused down first. And now that Olaf, who was like, hey guys, I'm going to run in and be a frontline, is left all alone by himself. He gets finished off as well. Misplay there by TLA's carries, getting caught out and taking those fights. And there you see. Very, very close game now. Still a 4,000 gold lead for TLA, but 3 dragons in C9 Academy's favor are, it's not negligible anymore.
No, 3 items for Cassio as well, as Golden Glue finishes a Void Staff. And Cassio has that 1 extra slot for scaling. Keith also getting there on item number 2. Shoyu is there already with the Wit's End, but effectiveness, I think, slightly favoring C9, especially with this Cho'Gath able to really frontline now that Shiro is finally getting some items. Shoyu does get knocked up there, but he's going to get hooked also. Going to jump in. Wiggly, though, a little too far forward. Double dazzle there from Joey in the front side. As here comes Mickey with a big flank, trying to find Keith. Gets him over the wall, and Viper's now going to keep chasing him down. Wiggly goes down. Golden Glue going to try and defend the rest of their carries. Zeyzal, he goes down as well. Now Mickey going to chase forward as Shiro is trying to live, but he's getting chased down by Hard. Golden Glue has nowhere to run, is finally going to fall. And this time it's Team Liquid Academy. They'll grab the ace as Shiro likely going down here to Hard. The Permafrost will finish it off. And that's going to be an ace and the Baron for Team Liquid.
I was about to say, right before that fight started, that C9 have to be careful about getting overconfident. The fact that they won a 5v4 should not bait them into thinking that they can now win every 5v5 they take. And there you see overextension by C9. They want to find a pick off onto Shoyu, but this time Joey's actually alive to keep him healthy with that Taric ultimate, making sure that Varus doesn't die, and then the flanks start coming in. And this time it's C9's backline who dies too fast.
Yep, and it was about 4,000 between the two teams, now closer to 9 as that lead goes back up for Team Liquid as they take down the ace and the Baron. And likely more to get here as they continue to look for more structures. Don't forget that top lane inhib is vulnerable, so generally you want to break open and expose an inhibitor when you get the Baron. TLA have already done that, so now it's some extra credit turrets to try and take.
Yes. A little surprised to see less action around that naked inhibitor that had been there since about minute 15, but understandably teams wanted to get the other members on their teams rolling.
Oh, Wiggly out of stealth. Great hook from Zeyzal and Fog of War. Mickey again just too aggressive with that positioning.
Yeah, you're a Rise all alone walking forward. Here's the fight that got them Baron buff. You see them start kind of going on to Hard. They want to chase him down, then Shoryu ends up a little bit too close to the wall. A Rupture's going to land on him, which makes them think they can win this fight. But here comes that Taric ultimate plus the QSS getting him out of the hook. And now the TPs start coming in from behind. Mickey goes over the wall into Keith, and Viper is over there as well, so he's going to get chased down. Golden Glue can't actually zone them, and this leaves Shiro kind of unattended in the front line with Wiggly. There's no more backup, so those guys get focused down. And Golden Glue, after losing Keith, can't 1v1 Viper, as well as Mickey helping out. Just a really split up fight by the side of Cloud9, going completely the opposite direction of their previous one. Very difficult fight now.
And all that hard work undone in one fell swoop. Team Liquid Academy not quite there on the 10,000 gold lead just yet, and still have not taken another turret. A minute 30 left with this Baron buff.
Gotta look at Mickey. The reason for that one, getting picked off. Face checking by himself, trying to get a ward down. They're not under their turrets. Where do you think they are, Mickey?
I don't know if Mickey thinks that way sometimes. Exactly. It doesn't matter. I'll outplay them. Well, not that time, unfortunately. Loses the 1v3. He face checks Zazul's hook. C9 just trying to keep these turrets healthy. So far, so good on that plan. Although Viper might be the guy to take this down, as Shiro is just trying to wave clear at this point and probably avoid this incoming dive, as Hard is also playing to this side.
Yeah, Shiro's pretty tanky now, so Viper has a hard time chewing through that entire health bar, but it doesn't mean it won't happen. So you see them threatening a dive.
All right, well, they're actually going to go for it. 2 in. Ulti lands is good there as Wiggly over the top. He's going to try and get out, but Zazul's caught up on the front side. Does splash, but he goes down to Hard. Golden Glue is so late to this fight. Gets a Miasma, a massive ult as well, but he just can't quite finish anybody off. Mickey is going to face check him, and he's going to try and zone him off there, but TLA all living as they move under the turret. And they get the tier 2 as Cloud9 still going to be forced to back away. Mickey gets a snare onto Shiro. Doesn't quite finish off that kill. But with enough Baron buff for this wave to feel healthy, TLA will take down this inhibitor turret.
And here's that Taric spam. You see how quickly they're getting topped off with Taric having a enemy around him hit. He was just wailing on that turret, spamming those heals, getting everyone back healthy again. And despite being a very scary fight for a little bit there, no one on TLA's side drops, and they're able to take another turret. 2 inhibitor turrets dead now. No inhibitors still, though.
Yeah, I mean, Golden Glue was looking for an exit kill, but doesn't grab one. Infernal number 2 and Drake number 4 overall is up in 25 seconds. So TLA with kind of a staggered recall might struggle to fight for this next objective. And like you said, not an inconsequential number or type of Drakes here for Cloud9 Academy despite the deficit. But oh no, Golden Glue face checks again. Seraph Lantern does click it to get to safety, but Viper unstoppable, going to keep trying to chase them down. Ult wears off though, but the Drake may be TLA's.
Yep, TLA didn't need to get all their recalls off. Mickey was still very healthy at the end of that fight, so he could sit in that brush and kind of catch Golden Glue out while the rest of TLA was making their way back there. That gets them their first dragon up the game, grabbing that Infernal. Doesn't really do a whole lot for them in the sense that they're already very, very strong, but it's very important to grab it as well. We'll make good use of it with the Olaf on the top side.
Yep, might as well take it, and they do as Shiro pops the stone plate. Got himself stunned up, but I think that CC chain's way too long. Viper getting that true damage down for the kill, and 5v4 for 45 seconds. Sounds tough for Cloud9.
Oh yeah, and their main front line as well. Neither Kha'Zix nor Thresh able to provide much zoning, so it's going to be very easy for TLA to walk up and start grabbing these empty inhibitors. Looks like they're focusing down the bot lane first.
Sure, you're going to get those hits on. And Cloud9 not really able to defend this one. Still 20 seconds left on Shiro. So first inhibitor finally goes over. It's not even the one they exposed at 15 minutes as Mickey looking for Golden Glue again. It's just him. Good ult though from Golden Glue. Does stun him up. Dodges out from the axe as well with Zazul having that lantern to protect. Hard and Joey just kind of tanking up and covering the retreat. So Cloud9 no pick, but no successful dive either for Mickey. I mean, at this point, I think Cloud9 is saying, you know what, something good has to happen for us to stay in this game. Baron up in a minute 20 and no real semblance of map control right now.
And you're playing the right team to kind of live on a prayer.
True.
Because TLA has thrown some games away. They play very, very crazy. You even saw it in that previous dive around the bot lane that if you get into a bit of a messy Baron situation, that's probably your best bet back into the game. Sometimes you want to be the engager. Sometimes you just want to hover around Baron while TLA tries to do it and hope they force onto you, flub their engage, and then you still have a very strong Cassio getting close to her death cap now, who can hopefully pump out some damage onto TLA's front line.
Well, blue over to Mickey. TLA just gearing up for this Baron that's up in 40 seconds. Scuttle Crab will not live through this. Hard gonna take it. Nice work. Bit of extra stuff there from his jungle item. Picking down the wards as well. Everything being done here. Cloud9 kind of know what's up, but can they do anything about it?
Yeah, I mean, that's you're hoping TLA skips some steps, they engage wrong, they don't clear out the vision correctly, but if they do, it's very hard for C9 to contest this dragon. You're basically hoping to get a fight because Shiro does not have flash to try and steal it away with a feast. Wiggly is very squishy and will have a hard time actually getting into the pit. So you're hoping for this fight, but if TLA play this one out intelligently, I don't think there's a way for C9 to really get back into the game. They don't have a better front line or anything necessarily.
Yeah, and again, Shiro is just hanging out on the bot side, clearing out the super minions that are also making this even easier for Team Liquid. Mickey gonna move himself back into the pit, and Baron started. C9 with no vision And Tarek's going to make this really, really easy.
Oh, yeah. He's got that tier. Tarek's got a lot of mana, can hit things and heal non-stop. And there you see TLA vision control properly. They don't rush anything. C9 respects it, backs off, but now they're going to have to fight soon. Maybe around this top inhibitor, you can kind of give it up. You don't really have a turret to fight underneath, but that mid lane turret, either the inhibitor or the inner, is where you're going to need to make your stand.
Well, Deathcap's just got completed for both mid laners, so might be enough in the tank for a fight win here for Cloud9, but going to be tough regardless. Keith is trying to keep the potential assault off for as long as possible. Viper doesn't get hooked, but had his ulti up anyway.
And's got a GA now, too.
Yeah, not the best target. I think was looking for Shoyu instead, but Varus is chilling out in the lane, keeping those minions pushed forward. Tier 2 in mid does fall down. Double Rupture is nice, but it's onto the 2 tanks there. Cloud9 not going to pull the trigger on that pick.
Nope, not who they really want at all. It's not much setup for the Cho'Gath either, so it's hard to find one of those carry members while there's no mobility on the Rise of the Varus. Ideally, someone else is landing some CC first so you can get that Rupture. Thresh can land a hook. Great, but they also have QSSs. Makes Mickey one of the only actual targets for them.
Yep, and again, Keith is trying to clear out the wave, do some poke damage. Cloud9, I think probably figuring that they can't really go here. Good ult though from Shoyu. He's going to tie up Wiggly now. Zazel the target. Viper goes straight in for it. A double knockup. He's going to delay them for a bit longer, but here comes Tarek charging in with the ulti. Shiro flash stone plates out of the way. And now Hookie's going to land back in onto Mickey, but he's pretty tanky with the shield up still. Damage is nice. Golden Goose looking for it. The ulti's good. That's going to get the kill onto the Varus. Now they need to get them out, but Mickey with the ulti lets the rest of TLA escape.
And that's what we're talking about. Mickey being one of the only people without any defensive tools other than his Seraph. So the hook lands, they're able to focus him down. He does live, but it results in Shoryu being caught out of position after he QSS 1 CC. And C9 are hanging on here. It starts pretty well as, once again, they kind of engage on Wiggly, and he does that same trick where he just pops his ultimate, so it's very hard to follow up on him. Flashes out, then they're going on to Zazel, another non-priority target. Shiro's the next one, and during this whole time, you haven't really touched Keith or Golden Glue, who have done a good job DPSing members down. Then they land that hook onto Mickey. He's too far forward now, getting hit by Golden Glue. Finally, they get the knockup onto Shoryu, and they almost found Mickey again, but that Rise TP out, saving the entire team there. Even if they all died, I mean, that would have been a ton of gold for C9, but they're in such a bad map position, they're going to have a hard time clawing their way back into this game. They're going to need to win a couple more fights more decisively than that one.
Yeah, gold's still not looking great either. Still about 9k behind as everyone's still building up strength. Infinity Edge actually done for Shoyu. Heyo. It's kind of nice to see a lot of damage there. Keith with 4 items still, but wants to transform that QSS into a Mercurial. And Elder Dragon also up. C9 are thinking, we've got 3 Drakes. This is probably something we want to try and take if we can. Bot inhib has respawned, but top still posing a problem.
I like how TLA's playing this. Just go slow. Actually, they're going to pull the trigger.
Yeah, find it onto Zazel, get out of the way, but there's a turret got pulled already. Shiro going to try and tie them up for a little while longer with the stone play. Not going to last that long. Golden Glue goes in, gets an ulti, finds 2. The double play from Zazel's nice, but it's only onto the front line. 2 kills down as Thresh and Cho are gone, and Golden Glue just going to get CC'd forever. A double kill over to Viper, and that's probably going to be it. Viper going to TP in and try and close the game.
Yep, they've killed enough members of C9 Academy to be able to close this game out. Like I said, Viper up from the top lane. He's going to get a bit of a kickstart here, while the rest of the team just runs through the turret while zoning away C9's members. And with that, hold on.
Wiggly trying to find a play, but can't get the assassination down onto Shoyu. Keith dodging around, does kill Mickey, but the Nexus is now exposed. Team Liquid Academy will rush it down and even up the score at the top of the table.
And this is setting up the battle for first place. We're now guaranteed for tiebreakers with that win. You might have one battling for first, or battle for second or third are the potential ones. So we'll have to see how that ends up. You can also even get 2 tiebreakers today, with one between Fox and CLG still potentially on the table.
Maximum fun potentially available, but we are going to get at least one. So we'll take a look back at just how well TLA played and managed to get a lead in this game. We talked about it. The pace, especially in that top side, was just ridiculous in this game.
Yeah, and the big struggle for C9 Academy was, despite all that shenanigans happening on the top side, which you expect to occur when they get that Olaf pick, they couldn't mirror it down the bot lane, and the mistake by Zazel, they're dying underneath this turret, really stemmed a lot of the aggression. And it was made even worse because this was a topside push going on that turns into a topside dive now that they know Wiggly's not going to make his way in there either. Shiro, you know, this is a tough spot to be in. You don't really know what to do. Do I just run away back to my fountain? Do I try and get back underneath my turret? Who's getting dove at 15 minutes? In a situation like that, obviously a very tough one to play out and gets punished pretty heavily.
Yep, tough in the 3v1 with the Rift Herald helping things out. And from there, TLA, maybe one hiccup in the mid lane we can look at, but really able to solidify their lead very cleanly as we'll take a look at this next replay.
Yeah, there was a fight that C9 had won, but
right before this.
It was right after they had killed a Taric who wasn't there to be involved in the team fight. Watch how much a Taric can do when he's actually there. He makes sure Shoryu getting engaged on will not die, keeps himself healthy. There's no one for this front line to actually focus down while they're getting collapsed on. So even though he didn't negate a ton of damage, it seemed like, it put them in a situation where there was nothing C9 could do. And then eventually those flanks come in on the back line. Golden Glue and Keith are going to get killed out. The front line was dying now that everyone had been getting collapsed in on. And this results in the Baron that finally kind of explodes the game in TLA's favor.
Yeah, and from then on, C9, they tried to find a few fights, but it just felt like there wasn't a whole lot they could do. I mean, they were scaling up, they were trying to look for the angles, but so tough in that situation.
Yeah, they were in a game where they don't necessarily outscale a ton to begin with, so once these fights start going wrong, you don't have that much better of a front line. Your back line's maybe a little bit better, but not significantly so they spend the whole rest of the game from a massive deficit.
And here's the way it all played out in the end. The final fight of that game where Team Liquid said, we've got this advantage, we are going to push it, and this is how it ended. TLA just kind of found their groove in this last fight.
Yeah, you can see Shiro, despite being extremely tanky, will eventually get targeted down. Golden Glue feels like he needs to do something to try and save his frontliner, but it's just slightly too late, despite getting a nice 3-man, 4-man stun, I believe. Just not enough at this point in the game. There's no damage to actually chew through the front line. Their tank had already been killed, and they're trying to finish off 5 members still on the side of TLA. Just not going to happen. And after that, Viper TP's top. You see that crazy like little skirmish going on, but at that point, it was all she wrote.
I do like that they took the like 15, 16-minute inhib and then ignored it for the next 20, 25, but worked out in the end. Just, you know, saving that for late game.
It's one of those things that can sometimes bait you into a bit of tunnel vision where it's like, we can get a top inhib, and it's like, well, what's that going to do? It's going to let Cho'Gath free farm probably for the entire rest of the mid game. So don't actually take it and let you guys focus down around the bot side of the map. So I do like how they played it despite how far an advantage they got on the top side.
Yep, rest of the play looking good as Team Liquid tie it all up. There is more League of Legends coming up after the break though in just a few minutes. Clutch Gaming Academy goes head to head with 100 Thieves. You're watching a 2018 Academy League. Don't go too far.